There comes a moment in every life when the external world looks fixed, when the doors appear closed and the mountain seems immovable. But I tell you, what you perceive as impossible is merely the boundary of your current assumption. And assumptions, no matter how deeply rooted, can be replaced. God, the creative power within you, is about to do what you thought could never be done. Not through struggle, not through force, but through a divine law that has always existed and is always working, the law of consciousness. You have been told to pray, to wait, to hope. But what if I told you that the thing you've been waiting for is already here, already yours, but hidden in the invisible realm of your imagination? For imagination is not a shadow or illusion. It is reality, unformed, waiting only for your belief to give it shape. The greatest mistake we make is believing that the facts around us are final. But facts are only echoes of former beliefs. They are not truth. They are not law. What you call impossible is simply a condition your senses cannot yet grasp. But that condition can shift instantly, the moment you dare to assume that your desire is already fulfilled. God works through assumption, not empty wishing but conscious embodiment. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to unite with the divine force that makes all things new. What you feel in your soul becomes what you live in the world. If you feel broken, dare to feel whole. If you feel poor, dare to feel rich. If you feel forgotten, dare to feel chosen. Not because the world confirms it yet, but because you know your inner world writes the script of your outer experience. Stop asking how. Stop looking for signs. Stop waiting for approval. That's not how divine power moves. It moves through the one who knows, who feels the end and walks in it, even the while the world insists it's not yet real. I say to you now, it is done. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now, in the unseen. There is a shift taking place in your life, a door opening where there was only a wall, a healing where there was only pain, a way being made where there was no way. Because God does not bow to logic. God does not wait for permission. God responds to faith. The faith that moves from feeling, let them call it delusion, let them doubt you. That's not your business. Your business is to claim the promise. Your business is to know the truth before the evidence shows up. The impossible, it's already collapsing under the weight of your belief. So lift your head, speak boldly, walk differently, feel deeply, because God is about to do what they said couldn't be done. And when it happens, you won't even be surprised, because you saw it, you felt it, you knew. Imagination is not a fleeting fantasy or idle daydream. It is the divine spark, the very birthplace of all creation. Everything you have ever touched, seen, or experienced began first as a thought in the mind of someone who dared to believe in what was not yet visible. Before the house was built, the architect dreamed it. Before the song was sung, the melody was heard within. Before the journey was taken, the destination was imagined. This is not coincidence, it is law. What we call impossible is often just the boundary of someone's imagination. It's not a fact, but a belief. A wall that exists only in the mind. And that wall dissolves the moment you dare to imagine something beyond it. The moment you close your eyes and see differently, you begin to move the unseen forces that shape the visible world. Consciousness is the only reality. Your world is not a reflection of what you do, but of what you believe. And belief is made alive through imagination. When you imagine, you are not escaping reality, you are creating it. You are placing a seed into the soil of your inner world, and if you do not doubt it, that seed must grow. Most people use imagination against themselves. They imagine worst-case scenarios. They picture loss, lack, rejection, and pain. And what they fail to realize is that this misuse of imagination is still powerful. It still creates. It still moves. Because the power doesn't ask if you are imagining good or bad. It simply brings to life what you believe to be true. But the one who understands the gift of imagination begins to use it deliberately. They do not wait for the outer world to give permission to feel joy, love, wealth, or healing. They feel it now, inwardly, deeply. They imagine it so clearly that the body responds. Their emotions shift and the energy around them begins to transform. This is the beginning of miracles. When you imagine with intention, you enter into a sacred partnership with the divine. You are no longer a victim of circumstance, but a conscious creator of experience. You move from reaction to creation, from fear to faith, from wishing to knowing. Nothing is withheld from the one who truly imagines, not because imagination changes the world, but because it changes you. It reshapes your assumptions, rewrites your identity, and aligns your vibration with that which you desire. And once you are aligned, the world must conform. There is no power out there that can block what is imagined in faith and felt in the heart. You may not know how, you may not see when, but when you persist in your inner vision, the outer must eventually bend. So do not underestimate the quiet power of closing your eyes and imagining something beautiful, something bold, something different from what is. That moment where you see it within is where the impossible begins to become real. What you assume to be true, though it may be invisible, improbable, or even irrational, begins to form the foundation of your reality. Assumption is not idle thought. It is not wishful thinking. It is a quiet conviction that something is, even if your senses say otherwise. And this assumption, once accepted, begins to shape everything around you. It becomes the silent blueprint from which your life unfolds. You walk, speak, and make decisions not based on what's happening, but based on what you believe to be true. And often this belief is unconscious. Many live in pain, limitation, and confusion because they assume, without questioning, that life is hard, that they are unworthy, or that nothing ever works out. These are not just thoughts. They are internal laws, constantly echoed back by the world outside. But here lies the great truth. You can choose what you assume. You can select the state of being you wish to occupy. And when you make a conscious assumption, such as, I am loved, I am successful, I am healed, you are not pretending. You are stepping into a deeper truth that already exists in the unseen. Everything you experience in life is a mirror, reflecting your inner assumptions. If you assume people will treat you with kindness, they often do. If you assume money will always be scarce, it seems to vanish. If you assume love is always painful, your relationships will reflect that pain. It's not magic, it's law. The outer is always shaped by the inner. The world responds not to what you want, but to what you believe. To assume something is to live as though it is already real. This is why assumption is so powerful. It bypasses the need for external proof. It does not ask for signs, evidence, or agreement. It simply is. And from this isness, a new reality begins to form. Even if your current situation contradicts your desired state, you do not argue with facts. You remain faithful to your assumption. You persist in the feeling that what you have imagined is already yours. And slowly, subtly, everything begins to shift. The people you meet, the opportunities that arise, the ideas that come to you, they all begin to align with the story you are telling yourself within. This is not about forcing or fixing. It's about dwelling in a state long enough for it to become natural. Once it feels normal to assume abundance, abundance appears. Once it feels true to assume peace, peace surrounds you. And once it feels inevitable that you are loved, love finds its way into every corner of your life. So the question is never, can this happen? The real question is, what am I assuming right now? Because that assumption, quiet, persistent, and deeply felt, is writing your future. Shift it, and everything changes. The world does not create you. Your assumption creates the world. When your desire seems distant and nothing in the physical world appears to be moving, the mind begins to doubt. You question whether the dream was real, whether the vision was divine, whether what you felt so deeply was just imagination. But you must understand, the delay is not denial, the silence is not absence, the stillness is not a sign of failure. It is often the greatest sign that something profound is unfolding beyond the reach of your senses. There is an order to spiritual creation. Everything begins in the unseen, gestates in stillness, and emerges when the conditions are right. Just as a seed planted beneath the soil grows in darkness before it pierces the earth, so too does your desire develop invisibly before it becomes tangible. You cannot rush the bloom, and you cannot always see the roots. But if the seed was planted in faith, it will grow. Impatience is the enemy of manifestation. It tempts you to dig up the seed too soon, to speak words of doubt, to return to your old assumptions. But the one who knows the truth remains calm in the delay. They do not demand signs. They do not beg or plead. They rest in the knowing that what has been conceived in spirit must be born in time. The moment you assume your desire is already yours, unseen forces are set into motion. Circumstances begin to rearrange. People are shifted. Doors you don't yet know exist begin to open. It may not look like anything is happening, but that is only because the process is hidden from view. Just as you cannot see electricity moving through a wire but feel its effects, you may not see the miracle forming, but you will feel it, if you remain still enough. Many give up too soon. They assume the delay means denial, when in fact it's divine timing at work. The universe is not punishing you, it is preparing you. Sometimes the delay exists not because the desire isn't yours, but because the version of you that can hold it fully is still being shaped. You are being stretched in the delay. You are being strengthened. Your faith is being refined, your focus purified, your soul made ready. And when it arrives, you will understand that it came at the perfect moment. Not too soon, not too late, but right on time. Do not judge your progress by what you see. What's real is what you know deep within. Hold to the vision. Stay in the assumption. Trust that the invisible hand is working, even when your eyes see nothing. You are not forgotten. You are not being ignored. You are being led. So when the silence comes, when the evidence disappears, when the wait feels long, do not despair. That is not the end. That is the sacred in-between where creation stirs. And if you can endure the stillness with faith, you will witness the fulfillment with joy. Because the delay is never denial. It is preparation for something greater than you imagined. There is a hidden key to transforming your life, and it is not effort, struggle, or constant action. It is feeling. Emotion is the silent language that speaks to the creative force within you. It is not what you say nor what you think, but what you feel that determines what you manifest. The moment you feel something as real, your inner world aligns with that reality, and the outer world begins to respond. Feeling is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. It is the force that turns a thought into experience. You can repeat affirmations all day long, but if they are spoken from a place of fear or lack, they will produce nothing. Yet one moment of deeply felt certainty, one inner experience of already being, doing, or having the thing you desire, this alone has the power to shift everything. This is why it is not enough to simply imagine. You must feel the scene. You must enter into the state of the wish fulfilled and dwell in it, not as a visitor, but as one who belongs there. When you feel something is already done, you no longer reach for it. You no longer beg or strive. You simply rest in the knowing that it is yours. Most people wait to feel successful until they have achieved something. They wait to feel loved until someone gives them affection. They wait to feel secure until the circumstances change. But the truth is reversed. It is the feeling first that brings the condition. You must feel rich to become rich. You must feel healthy to become healthy. You must feel love to attract love. This is not delusion, it is creation. Emotion carries vibration. When you feel deeply, you broadcast a signal into the unseen. That signal draws to you experiences, people, and opportunities that match your inner state. The universe is not responding to your words, it is responding to your energy. And energy is shaped by what you feel most often. This is why maintaining your emotional state is sacred work. If you allow fear, doubt, or frustration to dominate your feeling, your reality will reflect those states. But when you take command of your inner world, when you return again and again to the feeling of the desired outcome, you begin to live from the end. And when you live from the end must appear. Feeling is not about pretending or forcing. It is about gently stepping into the version of you that already has what you desire. How do they feel? How do they walk? How do they speak? And most importantly, how do they live when the thing they once longed for is now their reality? You are not waiting on the world is waiting on you. To feel it, to believe it, to embody it. Because once you feel it, creation is already set in motion. The feeling is the claim. The feeling is the door. The feeling is the secret. And once you understand this, nothing will ever be impossible again. Faith is not a fragile hope or blind optimism. It is a deeper knowing, a quiet certainty that does not require evidence or validation. It moves above what the eyes can see and the hands can touch. Faith overrides facts, not because facts are false, but because they are limited. Facts are bound by time, matter, and logic, but faith flows from the Spirit, and Spirit answers to a higher law, one that creates beyond reason, beyond proof, beyond what the world says is possible. What the world calls reality is simply a collection of past assumptions that have taken form. It is not fixed. It is not final. And it does not have the power to define your future unless you submit to it. The world will show you numbers, statistics, odds, and limitations. But faith looks at all of it and says, I do not accept this as truth. I know there is something greater unfolding. Faith does not deny the existence of facts. It simply refuses to bow to them. You can receive a diagnosis, face a financial crisis, or experience heartbreak and still declare, this is not the end. This is not my truth. This is not the law that governs me. Because the spiritual realm is not constrained by appearances. It creates from imagination, from belief, from the unseen substance of conviction. When you live by faith, you stop reacting and start creating. You no longer wait for conditions to improve before you change your inner state. You change your state first, knowing the outer will eventually follow. This is the reversal the world cannot understand. It expects you to adjust your faith according to the facts. But real transformation comes when you adjust the facts according to your faith. Faith is the power that defies logic. It is what makes the impossible unfold, not through effort, but through alignment. The world says you're too late, but faith says now is the perfect time. The world says you don't have enough, but faith says all I need is already within me. The world says you'll never overcome this, but faith whispers, this mountain will move the moment I no longer believe it is there. It is not arrogant to stand in faith. It is divine. You are not challenging the world, you are reclaiming your authority as a spiritual being who knows that truth is not defined by outer evidence. The facts may say you are broken, but faith knows you are whole. The facts may say you are stuck, but faith sees the way already made. The facts may say the door is closed, but faith turns the knob and walks through it anyway. To live by faith is to live free. Free from fear, from doubt, from limitation. It is not an escape, it is the highest form of mastery. For when faith becomes your foundation, no fact can shake you, no delay can break you, and no voice of the world can drown out the truth that lives within you. Faith is not the denial of reality, it is the power that changes it. To live as if it's already done is not a trick of the mind or a surface level performance. It is the deepest expression of belief. When you embody the end, you align your entire being with the reality you seek to experience. You are no longer asking, wishing, or waiting. You are living from the truth that what you have desired is already yours, in the unseen, and now you simply match it in the physical. This is the secret of creation. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. And what you are is revealed in how you think, speak, walk, and feel. If you seek abundance, you must stop approaching life from lack. If you desire love, you must cease acting out of fear or neediness. If you want healing, you must no longer speak the language of sickness. You must become in every way the person who already lives in that fulfilled state. Living from the end means you no longer measure your faith by what the senses tell you. The senses may say nothing has changed. The facts may scream that your situation is still the same. But your inner world, the true place of creation, has already shifted. And because it has shifted within, it must express itself without. There is no other outcome possible. You must walk differently, not with arrogance, but with certainty. You carry yourself with the quiet confidence of someone who knows that life is responding to them, not happening to them. You do not plead for change, you assume it has occurred. You do not chase after results, you embody them now. And that embodiment changes everything. Your speech begins to reflect your new state. You no longer talk about someday, if only, or hopefully. Instead, you speak as one who has already received. Gratitude replaces desperation. Praise takes the place of complaining. Your words begin to affirm the unseen as if it were already seen, because in truth it is. Your choices begin to shift too. You start making decisions as the person who already has what you once only desired. If you were already successful, what would you do today? If you were already in love, how would you treat yourself? If the miracle had already occurred, how would you move through this moment? These are not fantasies. They are spiritual practices. They bring the end into the now. And here lies the key. You are not pretending. You are not faking it. You are accessing a deeper reality that already exists. The moment you imagine the end and feel it as real, you create it in consciousness. By living from that end, you pull it into form. This is not about control, it's about alignment. When your inner state aligns with your desire, life has no choice but to respond. It's not magic, it's law. So stop waiting. Stop asking for signs. Start being. Start walking as if it's already done, because in the realm of spirit, it already is. You were never meant to chase after miracles. You were born to embody them. What the world calls impossible is not a limit. but an invitation to rise into a deeper truth. The power to change your life does not lie outside of you. It begins in your imagination, is activated by your assumption, nurtured through your feelings, and sustained by unwavering faith. Even in silence, even in delay, the forces of the unseen are moving for you. When you live as if it is already done, you no longer wait, you align. You no longer beg, you become. And from that state, life has no choice but to respond. So dare to believe, dare to feel, dare to walk in the unseen, because what you thought could never happen is already unfolding. Thank you for listening. May this message awaken the power within you, remind you of who you truly are, and lead you to live boldly, as if it's already done.